This first news story is coming to us, from PlayStation.blog. Sid Schumann writes, he's a senior director at Sony Interactive Entertainment of Content Communication, sorry. You're invited to the PlayStation Showcase broadcast live next Wednesday, May 24th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. It's almost time to see what's next. PlayStation Showcase broadcast live next Wednesday. The show will run a bit over an hour, focusing on PS5 and PSVR 2 games in development from top studios from around the world. Expect a glimpse at several new creations from PlayStation Studios, as well as spellbinding games from our third-party partners and indie creators. The live broadcast starts at 1 p.m. Wednesday, May 24th on YouTube and Twitch. Hope to see you there. So that will be happening the day this episode comes out. And so my thoughts were, hey, this is going to come out at 5 a.m. on Wednesday, as it always does. So that gives us, a few hours on YouTube and podcast services before the event happens for us to maybe talk about some possible predictions. So I thought I found an article that had some predictions. I figured we can talk about some of these, what we think. And then if there's any more we want to add to it, then we can. So coming from Push Square, Robert Ramsey, Sammy Barker, Stephen Tailby, Liam Croft, Aaron Bain, and Kale Adam over there write their predictions. Pardon me. One of the first ones they have is The Last of Us Factions 2. I don't know why it has the number 2. The Last of Us Factions will be fully announced. Fans of the original Factions. Oh.
That's a fair one to what?
Oh, I see. Last of Us Factions 2, because the first game had factions. They're saying there's going to be the second game they think is going to be called Factions 2. I don't think it'll be called it. Whatever that game is, whatever this new multiplayer. It's
not going to be called Factions. Yeah. People are just doing that because that's
just what they know.
Thing that people associate multiplayer with.
His prediction, though, is basically, whatever this multiplayer project they've been working on, that's going to be announced. We're going to get some sort of reveal, whether it's maybe it's a release date, maybe it's just, some gameplay.
That's what I'm thinking.
There'll be some sort of announcement for other than just concept art, hopefully, at this. I think that's not too crazy, I feel like that's completely doable. I feel
like that's expected at this point, because Neil said last year that he was going to be showing up this year with some more information. So
my question would be, though, is that something we get at the PlayStation Showcase, or because PlayStation is also included in the list of companies working with Summer Game Fest? Is that something? Because last year, that announcement where he said that was at Summer Game Fest with Jeff Keighley. So is that something where they don't do it at the PlayStation Showcase, but they actually hold it till Summer Game Fest with Jeff Keighley?
So there was no showcase last year, so it made sense for Naughty Dog to be at Summer Game Fest. Now we have PlayStation doing their own thing. So if I'm Sony, and now that we got our thing this year, all of our first party stuff is on the showcase.
That's
if
true.
we have second party stuff, or special modes or skins or whatever for PlayStation stuff, then Jeff can have that.
Yeah.
You know what? Sony might give him one world premiere for Summer Game Fest or something like that.
Like a Death Stranding,
but it ain't going to be Faction. Yeah, they might give him Death Stranding
just because Hideo's so close to Jeff,
his best friend.
I could see that.
But they're not giving him that. They're not giving him Metal Gear. They're not giving him that. If that turns out to be true, they're not giving him Final Fantasy Rebirth. So they're gonna give him one of the second tier.
I was mistaken, because in my head I was thinking PlayStation State of Play, but now I'm realizing this is not a State of Play. They're calling this a showcase. So that's an important distinction that I missed. And so now that you've just mentioned that makes sense, because this is not just a State of Play. This is a showcase, as in this is what they would normally do at E3, essentially. So
right.
That makes you are right. I think you are correct in that we would not see something like that show up over at Summer Games Fest necessarily. Okay, so I think we have to at least see gameplay. Maybe we don't get a date yet, but we gotta see gameplay or something. Hey, yep, it's and maybe a tentative next year, maybe 2024 or something like that.
If Naughty Dog was all hands on deck, for this, I would say we would see gameplay, but because they've had that team splinter off and do Last of Us Part 1 and they've been doing damage control trying to fix it, I think we still might get like a cutscene or something. We'll at the very least we'll walk away with a cutscene and a date.
Yeah. Another prediction here by Aaron Bain is that Naughty Dog will announce its next project as well. Do you think there's a chance of that, or do you think they wait until Factions is out the door before they announce?
It's going to be one or the other. It won't be both.
Yeah, I feel like that's too much. Yeah, I agree. He also wants Super Hot to come to PSVR 2. At this point,
I'm pretty sure it is.
Not according to him. He says we know that PSVR 2 will be a big part of the showcase. It's on PSVR 1, but PSVR 1 games aren't compatible with PSVR 2.
Oh, thanks, Sony.
Which is wild. Like, absolutely bonkers. That's one reason why I wasn't super ambitious and crazy about buying into PSVR 2, because I have a huge PSVR library from the time I had a PSVR, and the fact that none of those will carry over, it's like, no, I'm not going to start from scratch. It's wild. Like, it's so stupid. All right, this prediction here from Kale Adams says we'll be forced to endure more Final Fantasy 16 gameplay footage.
Watch your mouth. Forced to endure. Didn't you see all the people talking about the previews today and how amazing that game looks? Forced.
Sulky just came in the chat, says Super Hot 2, the hottening. I like that. I feel like though it's so close to Final Fantasy 16, I get it. Like, I'm kind of at the point, like, stop showing stuff. Like, it's coming out next month. Everyone's very hyped. Like, maybe a quick little trailer as like in like part of a sizzle reel, but we don't need a full trailer. Just like have it in a sizzle reel or something like that. Like, we get it. It's coming out. Have the logo come up with a date or whatever in a sizzle reel, but we don't need like the full crazy trailer again.
You know what? I will say that you can probably take to the bank. We'll be getting a demo on Wednesday. Or at least
Final Fantasy 16?
Yeah, if we don't get a demo on Wednesday, it'll be at least by the end of the week, because Yoshi P said that they have a demo that they were going to put out. Oh. Basically the one that everybody played that they're talking about today.
Yeah.
It's supposed to come out between now and the release of the game. And what better place to put it out than right after the showcase?
Yeah.
So if it's not the day of, it'll be the week of. It'll be by the end of this week that we'll be getting that demo. And trust, I will be back with impressions.
You will be back. Selkie says just double down and make a movie with all the cutscenes and show that. They won't.
Boo. Play the game. We already got that. We got Advent Children.
Yeah.
We do have a Final Fantasy movie. Thank you very much.
Which I bought. Remember what that there was like a last year sometime. It was like on sale on Amazon Prime, and you sent me the link, so I bought it. But I never watched it because I haven't played the second part of Final Fantasy VII. So it's like I don't know the rest of the story. So I don't want to play. I don't want to watch the movie not knowing the rest of the story.
Well, you can, because I guess now we know that basically the remake is a different timeline. So you could watch the movie as its own timeline now.
That's true. This next prediction: Santa Monica teases something new.
Yes, because Corey's been heads down on something for a while, and nobody knows what it is. That's why he took a back seat.
Yeah. So I think we could definitely see something. I think it'll be similar to like what they did with God of War 2 at the time, like where it is just like a logo or just like a very quick like flash of something, and everyone's gonna lose their mind, just like they did when they did it with God of War 2. As to what it is, we'll just have to wait and find out. But I think that's very probable. Death Stranding 2 is shown, and it's weirder than ever.
Nope. That'll be at Summer Game Fest.
Yeah, I actually stand by like what I said before. I think it's Summer Game Fest because it's not technically a first party studio. That is a indie or second party PlayStation studio, whatever you want to call it. And because
if Jeff doesn't walk away with anything else, he's gonna show off his best friend.
Because Keighley and Kojima are so freaking close. Like, it'd be wild for it not to be a Summer Game Fest. Like, so I think that's definitely a Summer Game Fest in a couple weeks thing. All right. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater remake is real, but there's more. He seems to think we get the announcement of he says he's pretty confident about the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, but he also thinks we're not going to get remakes, but they're going to bring Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid 2 back to the storefront to be able to play with a trophy list and stuff. Because it's been off the market, the HD collection, because of licensing things for years now. They said it originally was going to be within the year, they said they're going to get it back up. It's been like 2 or 3 years now. We haven't been able to play it digitally. And so is
that something Kojima has to worry about or PlayStation has to worry about?
Konami, you mean?
Yeah, Konami, sorry.
Oh no, that's a Konami thing. Konami has to work that out. But yeah, so that's this guy's prediction is like they're going to announce a Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater remake, and then also, hey, in the meantime, before that comes out, maybe like, you know, Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 and whatever, like the HD collection is back online now for you guys to play. You know, something like a port of 1 and then maybe like the HD collection ported to PS4 or 5 or whatever for you to play. I would be extremely happy with that. Like, I'd be honestly, they don't need to remake 3. Just make HD collection and like make all the games playable in their original state on a PS4 or PS5, and I'd be content.
Oh, MGS4 on PS5.
I'd be happy as a clam. Like, that's all you'd need to do.
And let it run at 60. Oh my God.
I don't need remakes. Just bring back the originals and let them run at 60, you know.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? That's nice for us to say, but we know they're going to do it anyway. They're going to do the remakes.
Yeah.
Now, somebody posed a question, and I want to hear what you think. Because they're doing MGS3 first, if you were trying to get somebody into the series with these remakes, somebody said that what they should do is they should just call this Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater and then just go like that.
And drop the numbers.
Yeah. Which, if you think about it, it does make sense. Because if you're going to do them in chronological order, right? Then it makes sense to not call this 3 if we're doing it that way.
Yeah. That it does make sense. But I don't think they would, only because we've already had 2 other Japanese studios release games out of order, and they just do not out of order, but like Resident Evil 2 remake was still just Resident Evil 2. It wasn't like Resident Evil remake. Silent Hill 2 remake is coming out soon, and they're calling it Silent Hill 2 remake. So I just don't think it's like, it makes a little more sense with Metal Gear, I guess, because it will be like, oh, here's 3, and then here's 1, and then here's
then 2, then 4.
Yeah.
No, it'd be 3, then 5, then 1,
right?
Then 2, then 4.
Yeah. But I also think that would, like, they have a ravenous fan group of Metal Gear Solid, like, you know, the Metal Gear Solid fan base to fight with. So that's the only reason I'm part of them. Not me. I would not care. The Metal Gears, I'm part of the Metal Gear subreddit, and let me tell you, those people are wild on there. So I think
you love Metal Gear. They love Metal Gear.
Like they eat, sleep, and breathe Metal Gear, kind of like what I used to be, but even more so.
Are you checking this out though? If it's a thing, like, even though there's no technically Kojima on it.
Like I said,
does that bring up a worry?
Because I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago when the rumors are popping up. I think I would at least check it out. But if it's bad, then all right, then I would just, at least I have the originals, you know. Because for me, like, yeah, I'm a Kojima fan first, but I also still love Metal Gear, and so like just to experience Metal Gear any way I can, I will do.
I'm just checking again. I just want to see if your head state is still the same.
No, like I'm not happy with Konami, the way they've handled things over the last few years, and especially some of their IPs. But I don't know. Metal Gear is such a huge part of who I am. It would be wild for me not to at least try the new ones. Give them a little bit of a shot. I mean, heck, I even gave Metal Gear Solid 5 a shot. I didn't like it. I didn't play it. I put like a handful of hours. You don't like
Big Boss though either, so you were already off on a bad foot.
I put a handful of hours in. I'm like, no, I'm out, and I've never gone back.
I didn't like that Kojima replaced him for Kiefer Sutherland. That threw me way off. Way off.
Granted, because I've watched plenty of videos and I've had everything spoiled for Metal Gear Solid 5. I know the whole story without ever playing the thing. Like I know all the theories and all the crazy stuff. Knowing like the story, I'm like, it kind of makes sense because.
Yeah, I get it, but still,
it sucks. Because I mean, that was kind of a Kojima thing because he just wanted to work with a movie actor,
that's really what it was at the end of the day.
Yeah. Which is sad, really.
Because if you talk to David Hayter, he's like, I don't know why they didn't call me,
Yeah.
So at least that's the official story.
Yeah. They have a couple random other predictions here that are like they want a Honkai Star Rail getting a release date. I don't even know what that is.
That's kind of like Genshin Impact.
Okay, so they want that to get a release date, maybe. I
wouldn't be surprised. The Genshin Impact is already on PS5, so it's only a matter of time for this.
A new indie game quietly becomes the star of the show, and he says in the form of like Kena Bridge of Spirits or Sifu, how they blew up, the last couple years during the showcases. He thinks there's going to be like a little indie game that kind of like takes over, like everyone's going to latch on to. No,
I hope so.
He doesn't really mention what, but there's a prediction for Monster Hunter World 2. Do you think we get
I would rather get Monster Hunter 5, honestly.
Yeah.
Than World 2.
I think you've talked about
that. But
that's
just my personal that's my personal opinion. I'd rather just get 5.
Let's see. Prediction for Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. I don't even know what that is. Is it this is like one of the Yakuza games, right? Okay, yeah. So he's saying like a sequel to Like a Dragon.
I'm gonna call them Yakuza. I know you don't want me to call them Yakuza, Sega, but that's what they are. Sorry.
Grand Blue Fantasy.
You can't call it Yakuza for 7 games and then be like, actually, it's not Yakuza anymore.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
Grand Blue Fantasy Relink gets a release date. Again, not sure what that is, but whatever.
It's a fighting game, I believe.
Sure, maybe. Marvel's Wolverine reminds you it's real. So they think they're going to be some sort of trailer or teaser.
We'll get a trailer, no gameplay. We'll get a trailer though.
Yeah,
and probably a date.
Maybe
we'll get a year at least.
Yeah, we might get a year. Bloodborne is back. Do you think there's actually any chance of getting either a remake or a sequel to Bloodborne?
I think a remake is infinitely more likely than a sequel.
Yeah,
I don't know. That doesn't mean necessarily that it'll happen.
Yeah.
Because people have been clamoring for it for so long. If this comes out and flops because only like 13 people are asking for it, Sony will never do this again. They will never greenlight that again from software.
I mean, they remade Demon Souls, and I feel like Demon Souls was
Demon Souls got overhauled though.
Right. So, I mean, they'd have to do something like similar to Bloodborne. But I mean, I feel like there's a much bigger fan base for Bloodborne than there was for Demon Souls. And people love Demon Souls. So if there's already a huge fan base for Bloodborne, if there's overhauled Bloodborne, like people lose their freaking minds, I feel like. So right. I feel like that'd be
I'm not
going to
say it's impossible. I'm going to say it's unlikely. Yeah. Because if they haven't done it by now, I don't know what they're waiting for. Because people have been clamoring for it for the whole time. Ever since... PS4 Pro. Like, are you going to upgrade it for PS4 Pro?
Yeah,
are you going to upgrade it for PS5? And they never did.
Marvel's Spider-Man 2 launches October 20th, 2023.
Didn't we know that already?
We don't have any date for Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought we got like some kind of trailer earlier this year about that with a date on it. I'll say definitely September or October. Because it's gonna want to get out of the way of Starfield.
So according to Wikipedia, it says initial release date September 2023, but there's no news articles that talk about when it's coming out. So I don't know where Wikipedia got that. I guess anyone could write whatever they want on Wikipedia. I could see that. I think it'll have to be September, October, like around there it comes out. That makes complete sense. I'm excited for that game. That looks so sick. The last prediction here, Team Asobi reveals its hand. This person, Stephen Telby, wants a full-blown Astros game. We got Astrobot Rescue Mission for PSVR, but where's our full-blown game just for like standard PS5? Which I'd be down.
Would you? Because I honestly just want another game the length of Playroom.
I mean, I'd be happy with that too. Oh yeah, I'd be happy with
Playroom is a masterpiece, honestly, that people don't talk about, which is weird because you get it for free.
Right.
I would pay now knowing what that game is and how it plays and all that, I would have paid a good amount of money for that game.
Yeah. Yeah, so their prediction though is like either another Astros game or even just any full-blown. They just want anything from Team Asobi that's like a full-blown like game of some sort, even if it's new IP. But I would love it to be Astro.
If I'm Sony and I want to be smart, I'm having them do another rescue mission for PSVR 2.
Yeah,
that's the only logical thing I think I would do because. We're sounds like PSVR 2 is on its track to being a
dead
Vita VR.
Yeah, right. I would love to see something. If we do, I think it would be VR. Unfortunately, I think it's best case for Sony because they need to have something for VR. But it's just a bummer because I'll never be able to play it. Because I don't plan on getting a PSVR 2 unless it's handed to me, basically.
Not while it's that price.
Yeah. So I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out Wednesday afternoon, later today, if you're listening to this on Wednesday.
Hold on, I got one that.
Yeah. So what's your prediction outside of these?
So, the streets are a talking.
Oh boy.
And people are saying that there is a Persona 3 remake floating around here in the depths, and if we happen to, this is my pie in the sky. I'm throwing my chair across the room. All right.
Okay.
If we get this, so they're saying it's a Persona 3 remake that's in the style of 5. So it'll look and it'll feel kind of like Persona 5, but it'll be the story and the characters and setting of Persona 3. And if that happens to show up at a certain showcase. Popping all the way off. That is a instant buy. And if it's by the Persona team, forget about it. That's one thing. My second thing is, you remember that handheld that people were talking about for a hot minute from Sony?
Oh, yeah.
If by some magical miracle it turns out to not be a streaming thing, but it turns out to be an actual handheld, like that has its own games and whatnot, it's a day one buy. It's a day one buy.
I do not think we get anything about a handheld, only because they specifically say they're just doing announcements for PS5 and PSVR 2.
They say stuff like that at stuff all, but you know what? Before we go, we got one last surprise for you. Every company does that, dude.
Yeah, maybe.
Let them fool around, Garrett, and bring out a new handheld.
Yeah.
Not a streaming handheld, like an actual handheld.
Right. I mean, with everyone else doing handhelds.
Chaos in this room.
With everyone else doing handhelds, they gotta show up to the table with something.
They have to see, right? Like, you think at this point, Switch, doing numbers, Steam Deck, hit 1 million, and it's like a niche product. This Asus thing sounds like it's got some heat going for it.
The ROGL.
What are we waiting for?
Yeah, that thing's like blowing up, and it's not even out yet.
Right.
So.
Let's do this. Let's do this, Jim. Come on, PSP 2. Call it PSP 2. I'm telling you. That's all you have to do. Call it PSP 2 and make it like somewhere in between a Steam Deck and the ROG, and you'll be fine. Just do that. I don't know. Oh, it's so annoying because it's sitting right there on the table, man.
Oh, so good. Yeah, well, we'll have to wait until this afternoon then to see what happens here. But until then, it's time to move on to our next. By the way, yeah, we are going to be live reacting to that. So make sure to catch over at twitch.tv/TheSuperGamerBoys at 1 p.m. Pacific time, or later on youtube.com/supergamerboys.
Wait, you don't have anything?
I mean, my predictions would have just been like basically some of the stuff that was said, like either mine was the Team Asoba like Astro thing or Metal Gear stuff, which they already had in the article. So I wouldn't have more than that. That's all I care about.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I just haven't been like the only rumblings I've been hearing about is like, and again that I care about is like Death Stranding or Metal Gear stuff. You know.
Right, and we're getting those.
And I guarantee, like they seem almost guaranteed at this point. Like at least Death Stranding again, not at PlayStation, but at some sort of event this summer. So yeah, sorry, nothing special for me. Like this article kind of nailed it. I'm like, yeah, no, 100%. This is what I would have thought. Thank you so much for watching that clip from our podcast. Remember, if you want to watch the whole episode, the full episode, link will be in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. We got listener questions. We got more news segments. We got what you playing. We got a lot of fun things. So yeah, more than just the news. There's a lot more to the show that you should go check out. So remember, click that link in the description. Check out that full episode.